My name's Matty Leadfoot. I've been here in Adelaide skating probably the last 7 years, 6 or 7 years. Well, I started longboards in about 2006, 2007 and we were all on Silverfish and I met Lee and Bo through Silverfish and we went for a skate one day. It was good fun. They weren't really doing big hills, none of us were doing big hills at the time, we were just cruising. But they got a real taste for it and started doing faster and faster stuff. And as more and more people sort of got into the sport, I suppose I did a little bit more organising events. I've never really been into racing, but I do like running the races, so that's a bit of fun. So I suppose for about 6 or 7 years been skating.
My name is Sean Flynn. I'm the co-owner of Daily Grind. Daily Grind started 17 years ago. There wasn't, at the time we started, there weren't any skateboard like core stores, or what we say like specific skateboard stores. So we saw a need to open up one, and that's where we began 17 years ago, and we're still here today, still selling skateboards, and that's pretty much it. It probably started 3 years ago. There were a couple of guys who were the senior members who were doing it, and one of them basically just came in and he was going overseas to race and he wanted to try and get sponsorship, and that sort of opened our eyes to something we'd sort of never really looked at. So basically, yeah, we hooked him up, helped him out a little bit with some product, and then we just started to get the boards in, and it sort of just took off from there. You know, like the seniors sort of got a little bit more notice within the community, and I think, you know, the kids were looking up to them, and from there it just exploded.
I'm Jaden Mitchell. I've been longboarding for a bit over 3 years now, from Adelaide, South Australia, and travelled all over the world skating. My friend from school just gave me one of the old school drop decks, an Evo, and then we just started skating and I got more and more into it. Then I eventually bought one of my friend's boards off him cheap and sort of just went from there, just kept skating. And yeah. At the start, when I started, it was huge. I mean, everyone was just starting to get into it, and then we got a huge scene going on, and then it sort of just died down. The police were on us, and all the little kids sort of stopped skating, and so now we're back down to we went from about 300 people at the sort of biggest time to less than probably 30 at the moment. So yeah, it's alright, but it's sort of been a bit of a lull at the moment. Probably one of the first highlights I had was one of the first Adelaide Outlaw events I skated in. We had a race. There were a couple of skaters over from Sydney, and you know, I wasn't really expecting to do well at all, and then I ended up in 4th place. So that was one of the first moments I had sort of like a taste of winning. And then probably the best moment I've had was in Sydney in 2012, winning the Mount Kira Challenge in the juniors, and then also placing 4th in the opens, and then the race the weekend after at Newton's, winning that as well for juniors, which was good.
I think it's a very good community. You know, they're very, very close. Everyone works well together. You know, if something happens within the scene, people are, you know, if someone makes a mistake or someone does something wrong in terms of safety, someone will step up and put a few words in. The scene at the moment though is very quiet. It's pretty much I think at our peak there was probably about 250 people doing it, and I think there's now about 20, like core. So it's pretty much all those who sort of just did it as a bit of a fad, or because their friends did it, they've pretty much stopped, and those that really were into it for the core of it have, you know, continued with it. Well, the main problem obviously is they have no place to skate. So by the law, you know, you're not supposed to skate on a road with a divided line or a medium strip. And a lot of those roads that they do skate in the mountains have lines, and technically, you know, well, not technically, but they're illegal for them to skate on. So that's the biggest problem they face, is they have nowhere really to skate legally, and you could also say safely, because, you know, they are skating the roads out there with cars. Although, you know, they do skate, you know, they're very aware of the environment they skate in, so they do skate safely, but still, you know, there's always that chance, you know, when you're travelling 70 kilometres an hour and the car's, you know, travelling 100 kilometres an hour, it's something bad could happen. Luckily nothing ever has, and that's, I think, because the community's been very good at, you know, keeping everyone in line. Everyone, you know, skates within their limits.
The police, and just general media. I mean, I've done a few interviews for TV shows and for like news segments and stuff, and, you know, we've had a couple positive stories, but most of them are negative. So a lot of the little kids and their parents aren't really liking that, and the fact that the police and were trying to knuckle down at one point, especially, you know, seizing cameras, trying to take boards, handing out fines. I've been to court once for it, and, you know, there's nearly been a couple other times, but the main influence would definitely be the police.
In 5 years, there's two things that can happen, I think. That the scene completely dries up, and this is because of police pressure. Obviously, what I would like to see in 5 years is a little bit more acceptance of the sport, a place maybe that is open for downhill skateboarders to practice or just go out and session on weekends, that is known, and the police are happy to have the skaters there. So if we could get an event together that was public enough that we could have spectators and people see what it is we're doing, I'm sure that everyone would start to understand how exciting this sport is, and how, when it comes to racing, how talented the skaters are, as well as, I suppose, just very skilled.
I think if the sport would probably grow again if there was a legal spot to do it. So whether that's road closures or an actual purpose-built road for the actual longboarding. If they were able to do that, then I think, you know, you'd probably see a few more people get back into it, and probably a lot of new people get into it, because they'd be able to skate safely and skate without being hassled. but for that to happen, people need to, you know, come together as a community.
I'd like to see shops band together in Adelaide. It's been really a one-shop show at the moment, like trying to support events, and I'd like to see more shops involved in it to help out the scene, and then eventually we get a big enough base if we have big supporting companies that has a larger influence over the councils and the police, and so the scene can grow again and get more skaters back into it.
I think in 5 years it can be in a place that we can have more legal events, maybe as many as one every 2 months, and that's where I would like to see the scene going. Well, I love skateboarding from the fact, I mean, the way that you go out and skate with your friends. It's an adventure. It's adrenaline, but there's also really good exercise for someone my age, for example. Skateboarding sort of accepts some people that are on the fringe. So there's a sport where somebody who doesn't fit in with athletics or tennis or football goes along and has a great time, and there's no judgment, there's no competitiveness involved in it, unless of course you're racing. But it's that acceptance of the different kinds of people that skateboarding has that I love, and seeing the love for skateboarding shared, you know, with a group of people is absolutely awesome. And you see some young guys that start up, and then a little bit further down the track when they start getting good, there's just like a light that goes on inside them, and they're hooked. And I don't blame them. It's absolutely fantastic. The way it's exciting as well as good exercise. So, you know, skateboarding to me is something that more people should maybe have a go at, or just sort of consider that it's something that isn't so shut down. It's a very open sport. It's for everyone. So, you know, I love it. Yeah.
Just everything about it. I mean, traveling's fun, meeting new people is always good fun, parties, the racing, but really just hopping on a board, just pushing around is just fun. Just having a skateboard under your feet and just, you know, being able to go from like ollieing on a curb to 100 k's down a hill is what I keep doing.